John's Patriarchy.
The Elvis Press Tree Conspiracy Program with Rives, Elliot, and John Brennan.
We are here to discuss a very interesting and I would say surreal, spooky conspiracy theory that we sort of, encountered when we were in Memphis when we visited Graceland.
Yeah, we're here to discuss the historic events of July 11th, 2022.
July
at
11th.
Graceland.
That's right.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, Tennessee. Now, to set this all up, before I went to Memphis, I watched a video online by a man named Chef Dez. Chef D-E-Z. You can find him at chefdez.com. Now, the fact that he's a chef isn't the important part. The fact that he captured a picture that had the spectre of Elvis Presley in the trees at Graceland. We'll link to all that stuff, and you'll be able to watch for yourself. He has a couple of videos about it, analyzing, a psychic analyzed part of it. So that was in my mind while we were there at Graceland. And at the end of the tour, we come, and I see the trees, and I'm like, oh, I remember I watched this video about Elvis's ghost being sort of, taken in the trees over there. So let's see if we could take a picture and see what happens. And we took this picture of me, and no joke, there was an orb.
Yeah, so I'm sure the photo will be attached below.
Yeah, we'll put the photo up here or there, wherever it's on. It'll be on the thing, but we'll analyze the photo with you as we sort of see the fact that, and this is not a joke. I mean, we may get into some fun stuff later, but the truth is, there was an orb, and it was almost as if it was mocking us for even thinking that there was a ghost of Elvis in the tree. It was just like, oh yeah, you think it's here? Here it is.
Yeah, but it wasn't just the orb, was it? So this photo, just to lay the groundwork, we were on the tour. We had seen the house, amazing, but that's its own thing. After we toured the grounds, we came around. Before we could get back on the buses, John actually went rogue. He went to go take a photo of the trees on the front lawn of Graceland, and the security there wasn't having it. They tried to stop him from taking this photo.
That's a good point.
This is. It's not like they don't know what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and say that now. He had to go rogue to take this, but the photo, if you're looking at it now online, not only is there an orb in the tree, which is very distinct. If you actually look at the shadow, and you look at the hair on the shadow, John's shadow in the photo, you can see that the hairline does not match up with John's head. And how would you describe the hair on the shadow, John?
Yeah, well, I would say a lot of people, either in my past or probably in my future, have described my head as very pumpkin-like, very roundish, strange spherical head. But the shadow, no joke, and this is not Photoshop, this is not bullshit, it came out as sort of a squarish, rectangular-ish shadow. And I don't know what possibly could be causing my head to turn square.
Yeah, the shadow does not match John's head. It is very distinctly squared off haircut. I think you can probably draw the conclusion for yourself. Is a familiar black pompadour shape one might associate with Elvis Presley himself, the king of rock and roll, the king of Graceland.
Yeah, so and the other thing that's weird about that shadow is I'm doing sort of the devil horns, right? And the way that it's sort of shaped is like, it's almost like the sideburns of Elvis, and then it comes up and it's like Elvis's hairline, and then that little swoop that he does sometimes in the front, it's almost like as if it's the forehead of Elvis pressing through from the other side. I don't know, man. So we're here to sort of to do like a jumping off point about this picture, because we'll analyze, we'll put up the pictures that Chef Dez took. We also got a chance to speak to Chef Dez, so we'll get his thoughts on all this stuff, and we'll put these pictures up together and we'll sort of look at them, circle them. Rives already did a lot of sort of postings and things, so we'll put out some a short sort of documentary talking about and analyzing all the footage. We also had other people send us things that they thought that they saw. And again, this could be sort of misconstrued as a joke or something, but we're kind of running with it because it really did spook us out.
Yeah, there's too much. I mean, yes, this is fun. We're all having fun, but honestly, there's too much evidence in this photo. There's just too much, and you're looking at Chef's. There's too much going on to just pass this off. So it's not like there isn't something going on, and we definitely have some theories on it. It's pretty clear the spirit of Elvis Presley is trapped in the trees at Graceland, if not a specific tree. I think we know the tree. It's pretty clear in the photo.
Yeah, and on top of that, Chef Dez, who he was the one. He's basically the prelude to all of the things that we've just spoke about. He got his picture oddly in July of 2019. So there's something also about the month of July that is very special, obviously, to Elvis. We'll have to do some major research into the month of July for him. But so the fact that these two things happen on top of that, Chef Dez's original video, which we'll link to, went viral. I mean, it has close to 800,000 views. And there's some people who think he smoked crack, some people who said it's a lie, other people who totally believe it. But on top of that, a psychic reached out. And Chef Dez put out a follow-up video analyzing what the psychic said about these pictures, about this specifically this one picture. And what did they see? They said that they saw a dog. What else?
That's right. So there was a dog. If you look at the photo, if you watch the second video that Chef Dez posted on the matter, you watch that online on YouTube, you can see. So there's a shape of a dog. That's maybe a little bit more of a stretch. But then, of course, we have the specter of Elvis. And then what's the term? Most telling of all, chilling even. Actually, the specter, the ghost of Elvis's mother, Gladys, is in the photo. And if you look at the shadow in the photo, the specter, and you look next to a photo of Elvis's mom herself, side by side, dead on. So there may be more than one spirit trapped in the trees at Graceland.
So I feel like I got chills when I watched that video, because the thing that is the most compelling is the picture of the mom. It's dead on when you look side by side. It's almost as if, that picture was the inspiration for the ghost to return. To sort of recap, we went to Memphis, Graceland, in the month of July, the same month that there was a specter caught on film by a man named Chef Dez in July of 2019. Fast forward to July of 2022, we capture another orb, as well as some sort of a squared off shadow head for some unknown reason. And then what we started to do is zoom in on our own photograph, and we started to find really odd things. I mean, there's letters in the trees.
Yeah, that's right. We did a magnification. There's actually it's like a white E. It's on its side, so it kind of looks like a W, but it's not written like a W. There's an E. There's a very clear white E on the tree in question that Elvis is trapped in. And if to go even further with it, we looked far in the background of some of the photos, and there's actually like a specter. And of course, if you go actually to my the highlights on my Instagram page, Keanu's last name, again, there's a highlight with all these photos on there, so you can see for yourself. But we saw this kind of demonic-looking black specter that looked. I feel like we're going to lose some people here, but this is the dead-on truth. It looked like a toilet. And so it looked like we've been calling them the toiletries. I know that's a fun name, but don't get it twisted. Very evil, demonic entities. We believe they're the enforcers for the tree spirits at Graceland. And we very clearly captured one in this photo, and a subsequent photo, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do also is we'll kind of screen grab all of the Instagram stories that we have saved, and we'll put them up, and we'll show everybody in rapid succession all of the evidence that we gathered up. So we went out on Beale Street that night, so we had a couple of fun posts. But there was some really great analyzing of the evidence. Beyond that, we sort of started to look into the life of Elvis Presley and to think, is he happy being in the trees, or is he actually trapped in the trees? Is this Elvis, is he giving out a cry for help? Is he trying to communicate with us? I don't know why he would choose us. Maybe it's because we believe.
Yeah, it seems like he has a penchant for reaching out to true believers. And I think that actually people that still believe his spirit is around Graceland are who Elvis tries to reach out to from the trees. It makes his spirit stronger. And so whether he's just reaching out from the other side or trapped within the trees, it makes him stronger when true believers are around. And so this can actually be evidenced. If you watch the Chef Dez video, his son, while Chef Dez was touching the grave of Elvis Presley, he said, I wish the spirit of Elvis Presley would reach out to my father and show himself in some sign. And then that's when, taking photos of the trees, Chef Dez found, he caught the spirit of Elvis on camera. And so we believe, we had our own true believers on our tour, but the Elvis movie had just come out, the Baz Luhrmann film, which we believe made Elvis stronger. It made his spirit stronger, having so many people think about Elvis, reminisce about Elvis, actually gave the spirit of Elvis the strength to reach out once again to try and find a true believer that could either keep his spirit alive or help rescue him from the trees. We don't know. We have a few theories going right now.
Well, the major theory that you began, and I'm getting chills just remembering this, is that you could make the connection between the fact that the trees are made of wood and that Elvis was a wood abuser in his life.
Elvis was absolutely abusive to wood. You said it yourself. The man just seemed to have like an irrational hatred for one of our most common natural resources. You go to a shooting range, it's nothing but logs with a target slapped on. This shooting range, folks, if you haven't been to Graceland, you got to see this thing. It is maybe a 5 by 5 foot room. No room at all. You're gonna blast your hearing out shooting a gun at that close range. This man loved nothing more than to go shoot wood point blank at his private shooting range at Graceland. If that's not enough, the man, huge fan of karate. I think we all know what we got to do to get our yellow belt in karate. What's the test? You got to break a board, and you just got to break more and more boards going up the belt level. So I don't know what more you need. Do we need to discuss all that? We're looking into the number of times he flipped tables, broke tables in the jungle room. I mean, I don't want to go too far too fast. But there's a lot here. Yeah, there's a lot to unwrap. There's also the famous photograph, which we'll put up, of the television set that Elvis shot out. And rumor has it that there was some sort of a tree program on the television. On top of that, one of Elvis's favorite movies, Black Christmas. And what happens at Christmas? You put up a Christmas tree. Christmas tree. Folks, it just goes deeper and deeper, so strap in. Sure. On another thing, actually, Liz, I believe, found this. Liz Shack, she was researching Elvis and found out that he wore, for many years, a medallion around his neck that was a medallion of the Tree of Life. Now, this is where I know you have some strong theories, John. Yes. Connecting the Tree of Life to, I believe, the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Yes. But there's a connection between Elvis, the spirits of the trees in ancient Egypt. Yeah, well, Elvis sang a song. He didn't write the song, but he did sing the song, and he sang it in a pretty, I won't say disparaging way, but sort of a novelty way. It's called Little Egypt. Now, Little Egypt is, it's saying it's little. It's not what it once was. Ancient Egypt. I mean, if you really think about Egypt,
it was so vast and there for so long that Cleopatra could look back and say ancient Egypt. I mean, she was in Egypt and it was ancient back then. So imagine how massive and amazing Egypt was and majestical. And we've sort of forgotten the majesty. I mean, we still visit the pyramids and things like that, but it's not as renowned as it once was. So when Elvis disparaged Egypt with that song, I personally believe that the pharaohs of old and the ancient Egypt gods got together and conspired against Elvis with the woods and the trees at Graceland to trap Elvis for the foreseeable future. It's a stretch, but there's evidence to support it.
Again, we're examining every avenue on this. We're leaving no stones unturned, no stump help me out here because I don't have a word for this.
No stump unsat on.
Yes.
There's a thing. Okay, here's the way I look at it. Robert Anton Wilson, the famous psychonaut who wrote a bunch of books.
Illuminatus trilogy.
The Illuminatus trilogy. He wrote a trilogy also called The Cosmic Trigger, which is more of like a philosophical, psychological descent into psychedelic experience and experiments. He has this concept called reality tunnels. Now, you can go down different reality tunnels in your life at any different time as long as you choose to do so. At one point, you could be a Christian, say, and then at the next minute, you could turn around and be a Satanist. And as long as you're going down that reality tunnel and all the things that you choose to do and see and believe are true in your heart, you can change your reality. And that's what I feel like we can do with these theories, is that we can put ourselves in the driver's seat of a theory. And even if it's not necessarily the truth, we are seeking the truth by experimenting with these theories.
You got to test everything. You got to explore every one of these tunnels.
Absolutely.
You know, and the fact that so for those that don't know, Elvis actually very famously wore a medallion with the image of the Tree of Life. And we believe, I mean, I don't know, this might have been an honest gesture. It might have been more of a flippant gesture. But I think, in a way, wearing that medallion helped connect, whether Elvis wished for it or not, with the ancient spirits, the ancient pharaohs of Egypt, who might have been a little more than pissed off with Elvis's insults. And that might have they might have been able to empower the tree spirits actually at Graceland to work against Elvis.
Absolutely. On another reality tunnel that we could go down is the idea of the Catholic and Christian God, or the Jesus and things like that. Supposedly Elvis was pretty religious, and I don't remember exact. We'll have to do research on the exact denomination that he was.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, folks.
This is just the beginning. But not to do any spoilers, but there was a part in our interview with Chef Dez when Chef Dez said the word devil, and there was a glitch in the internet in otherwise a perfect service that day. So when Chef Dez says the word devil and there's a glitch on just that word, something's peeking through. Something. What is it? The God? Is it God? Is it the devil? Is it Elvis himself? I mean, you said that there's a lot of letters in the word devil that are also in the word Elvis.
You take the word devils, you can't spell that without Elvis. Elvis. Just let it roll around in your head a little. That's all we're asking. Please, I mean, again, you're joining us in this journey for the truth. This journey for the Prez truth.
Press truth. Now, we are asking that if you do have any thoughts or evidence or even theories, that you hit us up. I'm at Bad Techno on Twitter and Instagram. Keanu's last name on Instagram. And you could hit me up, Hey John Brennan, my name, at gmail.com. Hey John Brennan at gmail.com. Yeah. We're actually going to set up an official email for this right after we get done with this episode, because this is, like we said, this is the dawn of this conspiracy theory.
Tip of the iceberg, baby.
Tip of the iceberg. So we're going to do some research and things like that. But on top of that, we're also going to interview the people that were there that day. Honey the Mail Girl and her daughter Hannah. In fact, the odd part of Hannah's situation was that she is sort of a burgeoning ghost hunter herself. And she was doing a little bit of a spectrometer on her iPhone, and she got a reading while she was at Graceland.
Now, this is a situation I think will best be explained in their own voice when Hannah and Honey the Mail Girl are on the show. However, to give a quick recap, we did spread the theory around to a few other Graceland visitors that day, and there were some true believers, but someone a bit more of a doubter when we were on the bus. While we were talking about Elvis being trapped in the trees, she got a phone call that said scam likely, which is an odd thing for a phone. Mine just says potential spam when I get calls like that. Hers said scam likely, and then Hannah was actually doing a reading at the same time, so we had a bit of a doubter, and Hannah reached out. Hannah had her ghost spectrometer going, and what did it say?
There were a bunch of phrases that were spoken, so we'll get those actual phrases that were spoken at that time from Hannah herself. And look, yes, is it ridiculous? Yes. Did we want to have this happen? Not necessarily. I mean, it was just a joke. Oh, we know this YouTube video that this guy did, blah, 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 about the trees and Elvis. And then we get this evidence. So we need to follow this thread, because it's almost as if we don't, we would be betraying the trust and we
would be betraying the king of rock and roll.
That's true.
And that I cannot think of a more American sin than betraying the trust.
Oh, see, that was the other
spirit
thing.
of Elvis.
That was the other part of the Egyptian theory, is that he calls himself the king.
That's right.
Right? And the pharaohs don't appreciate that.
An insult to the pharaohs. He Elvis, whether he meant to or not, and let's face it, I think we know he did, insulted the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, not only by diminuting. What's the word I'm looking for here? Diminishing. Fucking.
Douchebagging.
He douchebagged. He debagged Egypt itself with Little Egypt, wore a tree of life sort of as an insult to their beliefs, and then called himself the king. So you can see how, your Ramses II, your Hoteps, your King Tut's might not take so kindly to that.
And there's something to be said. Not everybody is a fan of Elvis. People think that he was a great cultural appropriator, stealing the music of great African American artists and then using it himself and not giving the proper credit. There's something to be said about that. I mean, look, hey, nobody's perfect, and Elvis is no different.
That's true. I mean, look, there's a lot of American history to be discussed and unlocked just in discussing this very issue, Elvis Presley trapped in a tree. But sure, certainly, I think that this is a topic big enough to get into in a later episode. But he grew up in an environment where a lot of music was taken from African Americans, and he certainly took it with no issue, and it made him famous. And famously, Elvis never wrote a song in his life. He just sang them the best. What else can we say about that?
Is that true? He never wrote his own song?
Never wrote his own songs.
Wow. And what's odd? He played the guitar. The guitar is made of wood. There has to be a connection there.
Yeah, it's a domination. He made the trees sing for him.
Unbelievable. Now, I think we've sort of summed up the overview of this thing, but more to come. We're going to talk to everybody who was involved in that fateful day, at least for 15 minutes apiece, and get their little ideas. I know Yuki Nakamura is a non-believer,
but we'll see, because I think this might even be a good subject for a later episode. But there's certain signs, physical signs, when Elvis is reaching out to a true believer. Elvis has certain mannerisms, specifically sticking out his tongue a little bit, that people tend to do. Oddly, people tend to do when discussing Elvis, and we think it might be like an early warning sign or symptom of Elvis attempting to reach out, possibly to possess or inhabit the body of a true believer, or just to make a connection. Again, we're going deep, folks, so we got a lot to explore here, and we hope you'll join us on this journey, because these are the first few footsteps down a long path.
I mean, and for me personally, this thing is very odd because I grew up, I liked Elvis, I listened to his music, I know a lot of his songs, I thought he was an interesting performer. I went to Graceland, this is my second time going, but the fact that now my whole first cooking show is based in Elvis, and we're doing this documentary, something odd is happening. It's bubbling up to the surface with Elvis, either trying to reach out or, like you said, trying to break through and possess part of my life. I feel it.
I mean, hey, folks, we're exploring every avenue, whether Elvis is trapped, whether he wants to break free, whether he's happy, which I don't, I mean, based on what we've seen, I don't believe to be true. Why would he be reaching out so much?
Yeah, why? How would you be happy
place?
Stuck in the tree?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, that's, I guess before we move on, I don't know how far into the podcast we are now.
No, I think it's time.
Yeah, I think this is a good.
This is a good overview.
Step.
A good.
This is a good
introduction. A primer, if you will.
A primer, yes, sir. The crib notes when you got an exam tomorrow. Listen to this.
I'm sure there's a tree pun here that we could use, but I'm not fast enough to think of that shit. I had 4 beers
for the
before.
true believers out there.
There you go.
I just want to put forward my little pet theory here about the actual when Elvis was taken. I believe double check me on this. I believe August 16th, 1977 is the day he was taken.
It's something around there.
I believe that Elvis, obviously we know he consumed various substances. Courtesy of the Colonel. Thank you very much, not motherfucker. But that's another subject. I believe Elvis was on the right psychic wavelength. He was impaired psychically enough from the pills he was taking on his day of his so-called death that actually while on the toilet, the spirit of a toilet tree hiding in that toilet was able to capture the spirit of Elvis. So maybe that's a bit far-reaching. That is my personal pet theory to explore on this. I believe that's actually how Elvis was taken. I believe that is how he was captured. And then, of course, he was taken by one of these malignant toiletry enforcers, and his spirit trapped in a wood coffin, frankly, a wooden prison. So there we have it, folks.
That's some hardcore shit.
Yeah.
And, as you were talking, I just had another thought. I don't know how this connects. It's not a fully formed theory, but in the movie Forrest Gump, starring Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, the character, teaches Elvis how to dance.
This is correct.
Then flash forward to the fact that Tom Hanks himself plays the man who essentially led to the death of Elvis because he didn't take care of him.
The Alpha and the Omega.
Tom Hanks has something to do with this too. This is something that we just came up with on air.
This is a revelation just dropped right now.
Tom Hanks.
I am to tell you what, I am reeling at this moment.
I don't know what else to connect it with. I mean, Splash is the anti. There's the elements. You have the earth, wind, fire, water, and then I guess air is the element, and then I guess the next element after that is imagination. So we're using all of these elements to come up with these theories. We're going to base it.
You got to use the elements to fight the elements. Exactly. Trapping Elvis Presley.
So, any final thoughts, Rives, before we wrap up this inaugural Elvis Presley podcast?
He ain't dead. He's a tree.
He ain't dead. He's a tree. He ain't dead. He's a tree.
He ain't dead. He's a tree.
He He ain't dead, he's a tree.